It doesn't matter if you're experienced, been in the business 20 years, or you just got your license last week. I can tell you, these are all the reasons why your offer is not getting accepted. And I know this because I've been coached and trained by some of the best brokers in the country. Hundreds of millions of dollars in real estate, bought and sold over 10 to 15 years in the business. And me, myself, being someone who's only been in the industry for 2 or 3 years, but an investor for over a decade, I can tell you the fastest way of not getting your offer accepted. So let's roll through this list. The very first way of not getting your offer accepted for your clients is not following directions. And I want to credit Kyle Wiesel down in San Diego for going over this topic when he was at Brent Gove's mastermind. And he really talked about how agents need to slow down. They need to read the private remarks. They need to follow directions. When it says text the listing agent for an easy appointment, don't call them. When it says to negotiate, please do this, send your offer to this email, please put in all of your terms and conditions in an offer summary, follow directions. When it says cash only, don't send an FHA pre-approval, right? And when it comes to showing properties, when it says do not disturb tenants or schedule with a 24-hour notice, don't call or text the agent and say, can I open the door in 4 hours and get my clients in there, right? Following directions is your first impression to the listing agent. And when you don't follow them, you automatically get put to the end of the stack. I've literally seen the highest cash offer rejected because the listing agent explained to the client that this person is off their rocker and I don't like doing business with them. And even though this offer is the highest, I'm not sure that you're going to get through this transaction with them. The second fastest way to get your offer rejected is not understanding the property type versus what type of loan you're trying to use. Now, this can come in any regard, but let's talk about rehab properties. So when you're dealing with a rehab property, people will write FHA and VA loan offers on complete fix and flip properties, which are typically rehab loan, cash only, possibly conventional, depending on what, if there's flooring, if the heating and electrical systems work. But really what I'm trying to get is not matching up the loan type of your client to the condition and asset type of your property. I see this a lot. I have a lot of phone calls from people when I'm selling a rehab property that's like, hey, it says cash and rehab only. I have a VA buyer that's super handy. They don't understand the process of not only getting it inspected properly, but the appraisal, right? So let's go into the third reason how to get your offer not accepted is not understanding appraisals. And I want to talk about both sides of the transaction, both from listing property to submitting offers. If you do a crazy escalation clause and you just want to put that into contract by having a way over than market value non-cash offer, 9 times out of 10, it's going to come back not appraised. And if your buyers can't fill that gap, right, then essentially what you did is you wasted the seller's time because he got locked into contract and then it won't appraise. And now everyone's lost time and money. And in that regard, it's the quickest way to get your offer not accepted, because if I'm the listing agent and you come at me with some ridiculous like 40-50% over ask, I'm gonna look to see if you have a loan. If it's not cash, there's no point. You're wasting everyone's time. So that's the first way. On the selling side, right? I know everybody wants to buy a listing. They wanna really earn their client's trust and get that opportunity to take that listing. But don't accept listings where the seller's like, yeah, I want to sell it for $300 and you know it's worth $220. Because essentially what you're doing is you're setting up everybody for an appraisal gap issue, right? And then if you don't get any cash offers, you're going to be in a situation where we're going to have to back that price all the way down and renegotiate some happy medium, closing cost split, whatever it is, right? So the fastest way to look at that is when you list a property, you need to pull the AVMs and the comps, but then you need to say to yourself, what is the maximum threshold that I could probably list at this, that it probably would appraise? And if it didn't appraise, maybe it's plus or minus 5,000, versus I'm just gonna list this property for whatever my seller wants. And then next thing you know, I'm gonna be in a situation where I gotta renegotiate things, the deal blows up, everything goes haywire, and we're not in a situation that is properly managed, okay? I just wanted to say it from that regard. So that being said, everybody, that's the fastest way to get your deal blown up, okay? The next thing I wanted to say in all of this is, if you're in a situation where you know you're going to bring up repair addendum stuff, have that conversation up front. There's nothing worse than a listing agent that's getting bombarded after inspection with this crazy list of repairs in a seller's market that you know the seller's not going to do because they said as is, or the seller's doing absolute no repairs, or there's no negotiation dialogue prior to that moment. So really what's happening is that you're going to the transaction, you're going into the inspection, and then you're putting this like wish list for Christmas in context to hoping that the seller's going to stay in the deal. I'm going to tell you guys, if it's a hot multiple offer type property, about 9 times out of 10, they're going to say, get lost and I'll relist. And I see it all the time, guys. I manage hundreds of listings each week for my clients on the liftoff agent side. And I can tell you this, things go pending and back into active all the time. Why? Repair addendum requests. And having that negotiation up front, right? What needs to really be repaired? What things are your sellers willing to do? And moving through that process. So hope that helps. Take care, everybody.